Syrian army troops began withdrawing from Suwayda after the de facto government and the Druze community reached a ceasefire in the province. In Palestine, an Israeli strike on the Holy Family Catholic Church in Gaza City killed 2 people and injured 6 others. And Cuban National Assembly members debate the country's energy recovery and mechanisms in place to guarantee people's power. Hello and welcome to From the South. My name is Belén de los Santos. I'm from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. We now begin with the information. Syrian army troops began withdrawing from Suwayda on Wednesday after the de facto government and the Druze community reached a ceasefire in the province. Precisely, the exit follows the announcement by the Interior Ministry of a total truce agreed after 4 days of clashes and growing security tensions in the southern Syrian city. Fighting between the de facto government forces and Druze armed groups have left more than 240 dead in the region. At the same time, on Wednesday, Israeli aircraft bombed the entrance to the General Staff headquarters in Damascus, the area around the presidential palace, and government military vehicles in Suwayda. In this regard, the de facto ruler Ahmed al-Sarraj condemned Israel for the strikes, stating that this was pushing matters to a large-scale escalation. And we continue now to the ongoing situation in Palestine as an Israeli strike on the Holy Family Catholic Church in Gaza City killed 2 people and injured 6 others. Among the wounded is Father Gabriel Romanelli, who used to regularly update late Pope Francis on the situation in the Palestinian enclave. The Holy Family Church is the only Catholic church in the Strip, sheltering both Christians and Muslims, among them several children with disabilities. In this regard, through a statement, the Palestinian Ministry of Foreign Affairs condemned the strike as a full-fledged crime. The ministry denounced Tel Aviv's deliberate attacks on places of worship, hospitals, schools, and shelters, which have been repeatedly targeted by the Zionist regime since October of 2023. Also, in the latest hours, medical sources reported that Israeli swarm drones had hit to death at least 22 Palestinians in northern Gaza. Health authorities detailed that among the fatal victims were 8 people in charge of ensuring some 20 trucks of humanitarian aid. Meanwhile, the Wafa news agency informed that in the northern Jabalia city, Israeli jet fighters targeted a house, killing an entire family, father, mother, and their 5 children. The Zionist genocidal campaign against the Gaza Strip has been active for over 21 months, bringing about an unprecedented humanitarian crisis and a tremendous destruction across the enclave. And on Wednesday, 35 sick and wounded children arrived in Jordan from the Gaza Strip to receive medical treatment. That is the 7th group of the 2 million children to receive medical assistance. The evacuation procedure was carried out in collaboration with the Ministry of Health of Jordan and the World Health Organization. The children, who were accompanied by 72 family members, were hospitalized in Amman, where they will be treated by experts and medical teams. The Jordanian authorities said that this is the largest group transported in a single operation, and since the start of the Jordanian initiative in March, a total of 112 children have been transported with 241 family members to treat injuries or conditions caused by the Israeli siege. And the International Criminal Court judges dismissed applications to quash arrest warrants issued against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for war crimes and crimes against humanity. in the Gaza Strip. The warrants were issued after he and his former Minister of Military Affairs, Yoav Gallant, were found to have contributed to initiating, prolonging, or escalating the Israeli regime's genocidal offensive in Gaza since October of 2023, a military campaign that has so far left more than 58,000 Palestinians dead, mostly women and children. According to the judges, the arrest warrants remain in effect while the court continues to evaluate the objections raised by the Israeli regime regarding its jurisdiction in the case. And in a special interview for our multi-platform teleSUR, the special rapporteur on the occupied Palestinian territories, Francesca Albanese, reported on how the Zionist state of Israel is sustained by an economy of occupation.
First of all, let me explain why this report hit a nerve. I wrote that Israel has over the years maintained an economy of the occupation made of using private actors to advance the displacement and replacement of the Palestinians. For example, Israel would have not been able to displace the Palestinians without the weapons used to brutalize and terrorize them, without the construction machinery used to demolish their homes, to control their land, to uproot the orchards, for example, the olive trees, and then to build infrastructure of segregations from wall checkpoints and the surveillance techniques that have been, and devices that have been used against the Palestinians. And also, the replacement pillar is made of private sector complicity, because, for example, imagine the construction of settlements and the settlement infrastructure. It requires companies and providing services and helping build this infrastructure, but also things of the goods and services. This has needed businesses, companies, both to produce and to circulate these goods. The goods produced in the occupied Palestinian territory.
And the UN Special Rapporteur also declared that she would like to see more empathy from the international community and double standards to end in the international arena.
I would like to see immediate consequences for governments who violate international law, and I would like to see also more capacity to empathize. I would like to see the end of double standards and the end of exceptionalism and the triumph of universalism for real, where the rights of one are the rights of all, after all. This is what I would like to see.
Now we have a short break coming up, but first, remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. We continue with more information. Cuban National Assembly members debate the country's energy recovery and mechanisms in place to guarantee people's power. During the second day of debate, as part of the Assembly's fifth regular session, ministers assessed the progress of the government's program for the recovery of the national power system. In addition, as part of the economic strategies approved, Prime Minister Manuel Marrero announced the transformation of the official exchange market to begin in the second half of the year. The move will include a comprehensive update of the current exchange rate system, and the debate sessions and measures seek to revitalize the economy amid the ongoing U.S. blockade, while defending the achievements of the revolution and reinforcing Cuba's sovereignty. We go now to Argentina, as retirees were once again repressed by the police with gases in front of the Congress while they demanded the Javier Milei government to improve their right to a fair retirement. The congregants, together with different political and social fronts, returned to demand the reinstatement of their salaries and restitution of the medicines. However, the Ministry of Security deployed a huge operation, including hundreds of prefecture, gendarmerie, federal police, and airport security police troops. During the repression, a man on crutches was injured, generating strong indignation among the demonstrators. Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa confirmed that the country is experiencing an internal armed conflict as a result of the ignorance of the violence crisis. Through a decree, the executive recognized the conflict caused by organized armed groups in the country. In addition, the document mentions that these groups are identified in an intelligence report classified as secret. In the decree, President Noboa ordered the National Intelligence Center to periodically update the list of criminals involved in the internal armed conflict. And in Honduras, the Liberal Party accepted the resignation of electoral councillor Ana Paola Hall after internal differences. The president of the Central Executive Council of the Liberal Party, Roberto Contreras, assured that Hall's declarations do not represent the position of the Liberal bench, for which reason he formally demanded her definitive and immediate resignation. The leader said that in the next few days, a new councillor will be appointed to fill the position in the National Electoral Council, in what seems to be an attempt to align all the voices of the party under the same direction. Ana Paola Hall said that she was sure that taking the easy road of breaking the law would only lead to a scenario where there would be no electoral process. And the presidential candidate for the 2025 general elections for the Libre Party, Richie Moncada, declared regarding the resignation of electoral counsel Ana Paola Hall that her acts were illegal.
Reason and legality, and also truth as a principle, up to this moment. I don't know where the forces will lead from these historical events. I don't know where they will lead. We must be attentive to the trigger. Each one will have its own conclusion. The acts of the National Electoral Committee denounced are totally illegal acts, and that is why they were denounced.
And in this context, National Electoral Committee advisor Marlon Ochoa also warned of a potential plot to commit fraud.
Just as it happened in the electoral frauds of 213 and 217 with the rural votes and the Batson curve, today, again, from the electoral body itself, new fraud is being planned. They want a group of people from Tegucigalpa to decide which votes are added and which are not. We, as representatives of those who are victims of the Batson frauds, do not accept this human interference, and we demand that this be corrected.
We continue now with other topics. The Bolivian government registered an estimated 1,500 hotspots and 13 fires in 6 municipalities of Santa Cruz de la Sierra. The Bolivian Ministry of Environment and Water noted that several teams of the armed forces have been deployed in risky areas of fire to take precautionary measures. Meanwhile, the plurinational state activated the 2025 firefighting plan in defense of life and the environment. In this regard, authorities detailed that this plan was a comprehensive strategy for preventing, controlling, and restoring localities hit by fire. We go now to South Korea, as at least 4 people have died due to torrential rains in the south-central part of the country. According to Gyeonggi provincial firefighters, one of the victims was buried by a landslide in Osan City. The National Meteorological Administration reported that in the coastal city of Seosan, southern Chungcheong province, Over 400 milliliters of water have been recorded in the early hours of Wednesday to Thursday, causing rivers to overflow and the evacuation of hundreds of residents. And according to the National Disaster Management Authority, at least 124 people have died and 264 others have been injured in Pakistan due to torrential monsoon rains and related incidents. Authorities said that the casualties were recorded between June 26th and July 16th, with 8 new deaths and 11 injuries reported in the last 24 hours. The eastern Punjab province is the worst affected, with 49 fatalities and 158 injuries. No casualties were recorded in the northern Gilgit-Baltistan and the Islamabad Capital Territory, and authorities have issued advisories and are working with provincial governments to coordinate relief and rescue efforts in the most affected areas. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverages, and much more. Follow our page and activate notifications to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. The Russian government handed over 1,000 bodies of soldiers of the Ukrainian armed forces to Kiev on Thursday. The exchange was conducted following the deals reached during the past negotiations between the two countries in Istanbul. Meanwhile, the Russian side pointed out that they received from Ukraine 19 bodies of Russian servicemen killed in action. Moscow and Kiev agreed during their last round of talks on a swap of seriously ill and wounded war prisoners or those younger than 25, as well as on the exchange of the bodies of their fallen servicemen. And moving on to other topics, in the United States, a series of polls conducted by Quinnipiac University revealed that 57% of the voters disapprove current President Donald Trump's immigration policies, while only 40% of them support them. After having taken office, one of Trump's main decisions was to pass a budget bill that would turn immigration and custom enforcement into the country's largest security agency. However, one of the surveys unfolded that 57% of voters disapprove of ICE performance, while another poll showed that 64% of voters oppose the deportation of undocumented immigrants to countries other than their own. This change in public perception coincides with a poll conducted last month by Gallup Corp, which reflected a more positive attitude on the U.S. population towards immigration. Precisely in this context, in Venezuela, a flight arrived in the country from the United States with a stopover in Honduras, with more than 180 nationals on board as part of the government's return to the homeland plan. The Simón Bolívar International Airport received flight number 44 of the government plan, promoted to guarantee the safe return of Venezuelans abroad. The reception of the 186 returnees, 167 men and 19 women, was in charge of officials from various citizen security agencies. Since the resumption of the return to the homeland plan, over 7,000 migrants have returned to the country, reaffirming the commitment of the national government to support Venezuelans who are the object of persecution policies by the government of the United States. And We stay in Venezuela, where the World Poetry Festival is taking place, and the Palestinian Night was celebrated, paying homage to the cultural resistance of these people. The Jose Felix Rivas Hall of the Teresa Carreño Theater was the place where Palestinian poets shared with the audience an event full of emotion, culture, and politics. The interventions were marked by identity, dignity, memory, and struggle against the aggressions of the Israeli regime, with each verse recalling the exile, the childhoods in places occupied by Israel, the structural violence, and the hope for a better life. This event was also attended by diplomatic representatives who highlighted the importance of poetry as a tool for political resistance. And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok as well. For TeleSUR English, my name is Belén de los Santos. Thank you for watching.